My name is Marlo Schultz. I'm the president of Life Story Productions. We're based in Rome, Utah. And our goal as a company has been to help people have fun with their family history. Typically, we help people organize, find, and share their photos. And that's where we started. But our real thrust is making family history fun. We've tried to develop software so that you can organize your photos, add a few captions or words, and then type that in, and then you can find it really easily with the database. So the organized part is where you start, but the fun is actually when you can start doing things of this nature, where you can start putting labels on here so that as you mouse your cursor across here, you will then see the names of the individuals. We pioneered this over 15 years ago, but the really fun part is that these labels can actually talk. So that if you have some old cassette tapes or audio of your parents, your grandparents, your aunt and uncles, as you move the cursor across the page, you will actually hear them speak. Now, in a more contemporary way, you can do the same thing on this other sheet here. This is actually my granddaughter, and my daughter took some pictures of her playing with bugs. And so she decided it would be really fun if she would record my granddaughter as she was singing these songs about bugs. So when you see this little scrapbook page of her about bugs, and you move your cursor across there, you'll hear my granddaughter singing about bugs. So on a very contemporary level, this is family history for children and for young families. Halloween, here's my granddaughter wearing her dad's shoes. We've all done that, so that's fun to have those kinds of objects in there. Some of the other things that we think are kind of fun for family history, which is the theme of your website, is having fun with family history, is to put old pictures on Christmas cards, Halloween, Thanksgiving, or whenever you're sending a card. Maybe you're going to get well card, and it could be, remember what it was like in 1960 when we had Christmas in Utah and Santa came? Boy, haven't we changed since 1960. And so what that would do to your brother or sister receiving this Christmas card would really bring back some of those pleasant memories. This one down here is actually a picture of my dad and mom in Virginia City, kind of hamming it up. That would be fun to put on a Christmas card for my sisters and brothers to see. So that's another thing that you can do. One of the things that, if you all remember the old song that Mary Poppins used to sing about a little bit of sugar helps the medicine go down, that's what we're trying to get people to see, it is if you dress up your family history a little bit with pictures and some little flourishes, they're much more interesting to look at and to read than just basic pictures. And so this is actually a newsletter on our website called Jumpstart, and the theory is to try and share this kind of information. Here's another one of my wife's parents, and just the separate pictures are not very interesting, but as you recombine it into some graphics, you get a lot more interest. Now this one is really fun because when you mouse over this picture, you hear my daughter ask her grandma, "Did you think Grandpa was handsome?" And she responds, "Oh yes, I really thought he was handsome." And then in the background you hear this booming voice that says, "Love is blind." That was her husband adding his 2 bits worth to their story. So lots of fun ways, I think, to get people into family history by using multimedia, sound, video, slideshows, and a whole bunch of other things. But let me end on one thing, and that is I want to give you the instructions for a family history smoothie. Now, why would I call it a family history smoothie? Because a while back, my daughter said, "You know, Dad, I can get my kids to eat broccoli." I said, "Well, how are you doing that?" She says, "Well, I have a recipe for a broccoli smoothie." Now, the grandkids don't understand that green probably means vegetables. So she puts some broccoli in there and some honey and some other spices, and she can get my grandkids to eat anything she wants if she sweetens it a little bit. This picture right here is what's happened to a lot of us growing up with very zealous families in family history that have kind of force-fed it to us. So our goal is to go away from this and sweeten it so that it's enticing, that it's fun, and it goes down smooth so that we can share it with a little bit of sugar. One of the other fun things you can do with the software is to make calendars. In fact, you can make calendars in many ways. And so let me give you a few ideas on how to make a calendar that's family history and its orientation. So what you can do is start with a nice picture of the whole family. And the reason you want to do this is because people look to find themselves. And so if you've got a picture of the family in there, they're going to be sure to go through the calendar until they find themselves. And so these are all pictures that I've taken, which makes it even more interesting. But the one I want to show you back here that's kind of fun, there's a couple of them, is this picture right here. Now, why would you put a tractor on a calendar? Well, my wife informed me one day that this old tractor that I took a picture of along the side of the road was just like the one her dad used. Then she told me this story. She said when we were out using the tractor one day, my dad asked me to go gas it up again, and I did. When I got back, he asked me if I put gas in it, and I said I sure did. I put it in the radiator. I said, did he get mad? She said, oh no, he was pretty gentle about it. So this is her dad. This is a tractor very similar to his, and here's his birthday. This is the month of June. And so these are all people, grandkids, kids, and relatives. There's my wife and a granddaughter that have birthdays in June. This one's kind of fun. These are just flowers in my front yard. This one has my grandson, me, my son, and my dad all have birthdays in May. In fact, my son shares a birthday with his grandfather. But the one that is kind of, I shouldn't say sneaky, but it's a neat way to teach family history with a calendar. These are 3 granddaughters, a son, and a grandson, a son-in-law. They all have birthdays in July. That's why it's red, white, and blue. But down here, you'll see where their birthdays are, but you might say, well, Grandpa, what's the ship? And I'm going to say, gee, I thought you'd never ask. That is the Humboldt. That's the ship that your great-great-grandfather Olson came from Norway on to the United States. So you can actually use a calendar to teach family histories, and the calendar can talk as well. So that if you view this in the computer, you can click on different days and then recap small incidents of family history. So at the end of the year, you can spoon feed your whole family history using a calendar. Okay, let's talk about smartphones and GPS coordinates. Most of us have a smartphone, or we have a grandson or granddaughter that has a phone. That's a good excuse to take them with you to the cemetery to take pictures of the grave. So just keep that little tip in the back of your mind. But what you can do with a smartphone is that most smartphones will embed the GPS coordinates into the image as you take it, so you don't have to worry about that. So what happens when you import those images into our software is that we have a link to Google Maps. So automatically when you click on that, you will see something similar to, is this better for you? You will see something similar to this. These are the pictures in your collection that you imported from your camera. When you go into our GPS module, it will automatically put markers showing you where each grave is. So if you click on it, then it turns blue, and that shows you exactly where that grave is in the cemetery. Now the other thing I like about GPS is it can be places. Where you grew up, that's probably the gas station now, the farm, different kinds of things. And so this is Idaho up here, and this is Utah down here. Each one of these dots represents one of these pictures, and they're numbered so that you can actually see where these pictures were taken. Now the other nice thing is that when you click on this, you'll see the photo caption appear with the marker, which gives you more of an idea, or if you double click on this, it will go full screen. So the nice thing about the module is that it can also be printed, it can be shared as a PDF file. So there's no excuse for your kids, your grandkids, knowing that if they go to Yellowstone and they go through Ovid, Idaho, that's on the way, 5 miles off the road is where their great-great-grandpa is buried. And there's no excuse in saying we didn't know where because we've given you the map.